My name is Adetoye Enekweme. Alright, I like to talk about an experience I had some couple of years ago. And this experience is something worth nothing and sharing with many people who desire to see some reality of things they imagine come to pass. You know, one of the things I've come to realize is that you don't experience things until you experience it. That sounds like a tautology, right? But the truth is, you first experience things in the dream world before you experience it in the reality. So what you experience spiritually or in your imagination land or your dream world most times is what comes out or plays out in the reality. Okay, so what I'm about to share is an experience I had some couple of years ago, in the place of service. That's what I want to talk about, making yourself available to be of help to other people. Goes a long way in helping you fulfill your own dream and meeting some landmark or meeting people or networking with people that would also be of value to you, and also in turn you also be of value to them. So my experience was I was assisting my mentor's wife some few years ago. I was assisting by helping to drive her around on a project she was working on. She is an interior designer, and that day I remember we're listening to a radio station, and on that radio station there was this show going on about agric and agribusiness. The host of that show is Africanfarmer Mogaji. So I was listening to the program. The audacity at which this person was speaking from the other end, which is from the radio station down to my ear, was so much, and I got fascinated by his level of accuracy, and knowledge when it comes to the agric and agribusiness. So he's a practitioner and somebody who has tested the waters, and that just got me because there's a part of me that actually love to do the agric or agribusiness. In the course of the program, it talks about a second edition of his book, Farming by Revelation, that was just being published that period. And I got the number down, and a few weeks down the line, I went to purchase the book myself. I went to the office then, somewhere around Ikeja, Lagos. I got the book. I got the book. I got the book and I got the book. So I got the information in it, and it was quite enlightening. And I was struck in my heart, why not do an audio book for this book, Farming by Revelation? Well, as at this moment, I have no contact or have any relationship with Africanfarmer. So on this very day, I remembered before then, in the course of achieving this, I just pick up the book and then I turned to the back page, the back cover of the book, and then I read the biography that was there. Africanfarmer Mogaji is a thought leader in Nigeria's agribusiness, with over 2 decades of robust field experience spanning across West Africa and the United States of America. Through a series of personal encounters and divine insights, he is positioning youths and investors for the untold realities in agribusiness space. One of the inspiration or the leading I got that morning, the day I did that, was just put up your WhatsApp status, record this, and leave it. And I did as I was led, and I remember clearly that a friend hit me up and he was like, "How far? Did you know Africanfarmer?" Well, in order not to negate what I believe, I neither respond yes nor no. Yes, I did not reply to that message if I know Africanfarmer or not. And then that passed. And few years down the line, like I mentioned, in the place of service, my mentor was having a ministration with one of his ministerial friend, I would say. Okay, so he was invited to come minister at a retreat. And that night he told me, we went together. And lo and behold, in that same program or in that same meeting, Africanfarmer was also invited. So when we finished the meeting, I walked up to Africanfarmer. I greeted him and I expressed my intention of making an audiobook for his book, Farming by Revelation. And he said, wow, that he also has that same vision to make an audiobook of it. Lo and behold, he gave me his direct contact. Few weeks, I spring up to work. I recorded the introduction. I did the first chapter, and then I sent it to him so he would listen and then give me his response or feedback as regard if he would love me to continue or not. And then that played on. I guess he listened to it. Not I guess. He listened to it. And then because of other engagements, he couldn't get back to me on time. So I just left everything open. Lo and behold, few weeks or months, I would say, down the line again, because I didn't get a response from him, I was just like, well, maybe he didn't like it, maybe he's moved on to other things. So I just decided to keep my heart open, and I did not want to keep stressing or trying to keep calling him so that it doesn't look like troubling him. This is somebody you are just meeting. So I just left my heart open. And one of these days I went to the Victorious Praying Women Ministry Fellowship led by Pastor Maya Kunweofe, a house of fellowship that I have somewhat connection with. And I went to see a friend by name Yewande. And then of course she knew I explained to her when I met Africanfarmer and all of the old steps I was about taking then. So when I told her I've sent the audio file, she was like, oh, okay. Of course, I told her that I've not heard anything from Africanfarmer. So that day at the fellowship, after the end of the fellowship, I was outside, and then I was about walking in to say hello to some of my big C's in the fellowship. And she told me, oh, look at him. And she was like, just go meet him, greet him, and that's all. Don't do as if you're trying to ask him anything. And then I heeded her advice. I walked up to Africanfarmer. As I was greeting him, he just said, oh, I remembered. I'm so sorry. So he explained one or two things that happened that got him offline for some time. And we went on. Say, oh, just send me a text message so that I can receive your number and all of that. So I did. That went on again for some weeks. Few weeks down the line, I was at a community meeting that evening. I can remember so vividly. I got the call. I picked up the call and then we spoke. And right there, he was sharing with me an idea or a vision that he had about a project he wants to run. For quite some time we were on phone, and I'm like, I'm just meeting this man and he's sharing a whole lot of things with me. This must be God indeed. And then the next question he asked was, he wants to record. I'm like, wow, this can only be God all the same. So he asked me where was my studio situated. I told him I never even knew where he was coming from. So few weeks, we booked an appointment for a studio session And then he came in. He came to have an audiobook recorded. This wasn't even Farming by Revelation. We're not even talking about Farming by Revelation again. He came to record a new project. And then he came down to my studio live and direct. And I'm like, this is dream coming true. You know, from recording a 30 seconds or less than 30 seconds WhatsApp status after getting the book some few months ago or few years, you know, and Africanfarmer is right here in my studio room recording. And in the end of it, I had to just put up the camera and ask him to, you know, so I had to share my experience of how the journey of what I visualize play out in reality. So I'm going to allow you to watch the video and then get inspired.
Oh, today I'm excited. Joy in my heart. I'm privileged to have in my studio today a blessed man. You know, I don't want to say too much, but after, maybe I should just share a bit. Okay, I was privileged to listen to Africanfarmer on radio, on one of his weekly episode on radio, a live broadcast. And I listened to the insights, the knowledge he was sharing about Africa and farming, you know, from the kind of cows. I can't forget that particular episode where he was talking about species of cows, some cows that were imported from Brazil, you know, by late Paolo during his agricultural kind of program. You know, I got fascinated by this, and I love agric. See, I just love agric. Fast forward, he talked about his book. I went to get the book, and then I was gulping the juice in that book. And lo and behold, like he said in the introduction, because I happened to get the second edition, not the first edition, he said many, when they listened or heard the title of the book, they were like, oh, they want to go into agribusiness. But man, lo and behold, that book is for spiritually minded people who understand business. And the principles in that book, or the knowledge that was shared, is not just for agric. Yes, agric is the case study, but you can actually take some things out of it and apply it to your life. See, sincerely. And part of the things I learned, I've been using, God helping me. Again, so one of these days, while the book was in my hand, I was at home, and I just get this nudge to just read, do a voiceover of his biography behind the book. Read. I'm like, okay. So I just went to my microphone stand. I just recorded it and posted it on my status. And a friend reached out to me and he was like, wow, you sabi Africanfarmer. Not to be rude, because the leading I got was not to say anything with anybody. That's sincere. That's just like the summary. My leading was just do it and put it there. And he asked, oh, do you sabi Africanfarmer? I didn't reply, because sometimes God is leading us to do some things that you don't even have an explanation to. So the best you can do is keep short, just keep quiet and do what he asks you to do. That was June 2021. And lo and behold, this is August 2022. As at the time I bought the book, the time I read the biography, I don't know Africanfarmer. I don't have his contacts. And in the place of service, that's another thing. That was how I got connected to Africanfarmer. And I also, in that course of time, before I even met him, I decided that I'm going to do an audio book for that particular book. And I started. I did the introduction and chapter 1. And I sent it to him to listen to it, so that if he wants me to continue, I can know. So, in a summary, I just want Sir it's a privilege. I know he talk too much. I know he talk.
Well, I would say it's a privilege, and today is evidence that you can serve your way to any level. I have served, my successes today, surmounting challenges, is a function of who I've served that made wisdom available to me. So, I met him in one program. I went to serve my mentor. I went to serve my spiritual mentor, Pastor Maya Okoreofe. And, I met him there and he said, "Sir, I've done something on your book, Farming by Revelation, and I want to send it to you." I was like, okay, who sent him? But he sent it to me. But the day I pressed play, a call came in and took me out of town. So when I saw him again, a lot of messages had come. I didn't have his number saved. And I said, "Send me a text." So he sent me a text and I did not check it. I checked the text, but I didn't check the material. So I had a life transforming experience. I had an encounter with God in an unusual environment, which I may share later. And he said I should go after the youths. So I decided, okay, what can I create for the youths in agriculture? And I put something together. I've been involved in the youth for some time. So I put something together and I was trying to call the people I use their studios. I have like 4 studios that I use for my recordings. But each time I try to call any of them, I just had a feeling in me that no. So suddenly it just dawned on me, oh, that guy that did, the video, the audio for my book that I only listened to about 2 minutes out of it, that guy will have a studio. And I said to myself, okay, if he created the audio of my book, good or not good, he had a studio. Okay, that means, there's something about him. So and I said, okay, let me call him. And I picked the call and I called and I said, I want to do a recording.
Sir, you've not shared the parts, how many days?
Okay, so I used like 2 days trying to find his text because there's no name. And I have a lot of text on my, I have quite a number of texts. So I was now 2 days. It was the second day that I was able to locate his text. Because I told him, add that you are, the studio guy that did the Farming by Revelation audio. And I got it. And I called him. And here I am today. Wow. And this is going to be the biggest work of my life. Because this was instructed by God in a Jonah experience that I had. Because like Jonah, I went after a target market that I loved, that has delivered for me. And God said, go after the youths. And I'm like, they don't pay. I've been serving them.
Start to pay.
I've been serving them for a while. Wow. I volunteer for a lot of youth things, but they don't pay. But in that circumstance that I found myself, I just had to align. And so I want to encourage someone out there too. This product is going global. And because it's not what I'm asked not to sell at the premium price, I'm going to be doing like 90% discount on it. So it's going to go places.
Thank you, sir.
So bottom line is, you never can tell what your act of service can get you. Act of service has gotten me to United States. All expenses paid. I didn't pay for visa. I didn't pay for ticket. I was on a $1,000 per night hotel in various 5 states, and I didn't even queue at the US Embassy. In fact, they gave me drink when I was leaving, So bottom line is, service still pays. Service has gotten me here. As the product goes global, his brand goes with it. So serve your way to your next level, not looking at what you would get, because God has a way of compensating people who serve. Service pays. I'm a living witness of service, and so I just want to encourage you that no matter where you are, if you serve, they'll find you. No matter where you are. This is the smallest studio I've ever seen, but this is the most impactful now. So it's not the size, like I always say, money will always find passion. God has a way of showcasing the people who have his heart. So serve your way, give more. Nigeria needs people that will give more, but God will give you back. So I'm looking forward to this new relationship that will be taking global.
Man.
Thank you. God bless.
Man, thank you so much, sir.
I believe I've said some few things that could encourage someone out there. The place of value comes with a lot of sacrifice. And then in the end, you would realize that you would not regret serving others. Life is about service. And if we understand this, we will kill the spirit of selfishness every time. It will not always be about you, but rather it will be about an ecosystem. It will be about involvement. It will be about involving. So you get yourself involved in the lives of others. You see how you can add value to people, no matter how little. It will always come back to you. That's one thing I've realized in this life. In the place of service, in serving my mentor's wife, I got to listen to Africanfarmer on radio. From there, I got information about the book. I went to get the book. She never even knew I went to get the book until I told her. And in the place of also following my mentor for administration, I saw Africanfarmer without him also knowing that I had an intention of making an audiobook for Africanfarmer. But as the journey went on, I explained to him, Africanfarmer came to the studio and all of that. So please understand that there are things you want to achieve in your life that you might not have the capacity or the net worth or the network to make them happen. Like it is said, your network will determine your net worth. The people you follow determines what follows you. So make a right choice this day to be of value to people. Make the right choice to have a selfless life, to have a mind of delayed gratification. If every time you need to render a service of value to people, you need to place a price on it, then you are short-sighted, because some service and value comes with a long-term benefit. So you have to understand that sacrifices you pay, or that sacrifice you need to make today in order for you to enjoy a long-term benefit or a long-term reward from it. So life is as simple as that. At the same time, be sensitive to know where to sow, the land and the life to sow in. Be sensitive. So don't involve yourself in fruitless effort or relationship. In a nutshell, live your life to be of value wherever you find yourself. I'd like to say a very big thank you to my mentor and the wife, Benga Ademujimi and Oluremi Ademujimi. They've been a wonderful people to me. They've been a blessing to my life, and I'm so grateful for the gift of access to them, and the gift of access. They've opened up doors for me. They've linked me up to people. There's a lot of benefits I have enjoyed, and I'm still enjoying knowing them and meeting their network of people as well. Thank you so much, Daddy, and thank you so much, Mommy. You've been an amazing people, and I'm grateful for that. And I do not take it for granted. Not at all. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay blessed and be inspired. Thank you.